first thing when people come to me with anxiety, I ask them, are you working from home?
Oh.
70% of them are working from home. Isolation is a modern day plague. A lot of young women say that, I want to be with this successful guy and we should have 6 figures and we should have this and that. But not a lot of people understand what it takes to be with that successful man who's always getting calls, who's always on his phone, or with that entrepreneur whose brain is always running with their work. They want it all and then they feel unseen and unheard because they realize this person is not present. They may be with me on this holiday, but he's not even looked into my eyes even once. That's exactly why I say that the worst thing you can ever have is exactly what you want. Yeah.
When these couples come to you, do they talk about their intimate life, about their sex life with you?
Absolutely. Everything. And you will be surprised the kind of intimate details people even share with you. The therapy is a safe space where people talk about everything. But that's what it is. There's so much shame attached to these things that we always think that, oh my God, it is this huge taboo to talk about. But if you can't talk about these things, right, there is no point because you've probably not found the right fit.
Right. We just happened to meet at the gym and the kind of conversations we had कि मुझे लगा कि ये तो मुझे आपको सुनाना ही होगा. So please welcome Rhea Shahani. She is a practicing psychologist and has also worked with WHO as a mental health consultant. Rhea, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me here. It's an honor. Looking forward to a conversation today.
So Rhea, I was very intrigued by our conversation that we had about successful couples, power couples. They worked hard in their life. They have got what they wanted. They've achieved success. किसी को लगेगा इनके पास तो सब कुछ है. So why is that they are not happy?
I think a couple has to have a shared sense of purpose to run a marathon. If you want to run a sprint, it's very easy. Let's just go with the flow. But I think in your 20s, for example, a couple is very focused on financial stability, building a home together, figuring out what you're going to do, and just building a sense of a roof over your head, right? So building your careers, for example, figuring that out. But in your 30s and your 40s, again, if you have a child, then that becomes a mutual sense of purpose, right? If you start a business together, if you start a hobby together, that becomes a mutual sense of purpose. But when you create your individual careers, your individual selves, you keep evolving in that direction, and what tends to happen is a couple forgets to catch up on each other's stories. So they feel like, oh, I know this person who's walking into our house every day, right? And I know exactly they like blue, they like this, they like that. But the truth is, you don't know how far you are from reality and how much a person changes, right? So catching up on each other's stories is very important.
So we don't take enough efforts as married people to.
Absolutely. And I think people think, reassurance is something that is only needed in the start of a relationship to get it going. But I think after a couple of years, you need to be reassured. You should reassure your partner weekly, times when they are down on a regular Monday, because it is their effort. If you don't water a plant, it's not going to grow, right?
तो हिंदी में कहावत है ना, लाइक शादी करना तो ठीक है, उसे निभाना. एंड निभाना नॉट एज लाइक यूजुअल चोर्स. बोलते ना, watering and flowering a plant, taking care, nurturing a relationship.
And I've heard, trust me, Shraddha, absolutely. And I've heard a lot of people say that, why should I? My partner should just understand me. After so many years, I shouldn't have to, because a securely attached person wouldn't need that much reassurance, right? But I think that's not true. It's like going to the gym, right? A lot. Do we feel like going to the gym? Is there motivation? A lot of the times there isn't, right? But the after effect, right? When we just pull ourselves, drag ourselves to the gym, that dopamine that we feel after the effort we put, that's what makes it so rewarding. And similarly, after years of marriage, right, we say that kya zarurat hai? You know, she knows that she's pretty. She knows I'm married to her, or vice versa. You know, he's married to me because this is the ultimate commitment. After this, why do they need reassurance? But the truth is, you know, it is, and you don't even feel like. But when you do, and you see that it brings such a smile on your partner's face, it makes it worth it.
तो क्या मतलब बार बार ऐसे एक्सप्रेस करना पड़ता है, और वो भी फॉर नॉट फॉर नेम सेक, मतलब जेन्युइनली यू शुड फील दैट फॉर दैट पर्सन.
क्यों? कभी कभी नेम सेक के लिए भी करने में क्या, what is wrong with doing with even name sake? Even if you don't feel like it, a lot of the times we have, that's the thing, right? I had a client come up to me, and you know, he was getting a divorce, and I said, what happened? I took his history, his relationship history, and he was in love. It was a love marriage. They dated for a couple of years, but he never wanted to get married. So finally she said, listen, ghar se rishta aa raha hai, and you know, they're seeing guys for me. It's an arranged marriage setup, and if you don't marry me, I'm going to get married irrespective. Leave. Let's end this relationship. And he said, fine, I'll marry you. I don't want to lose you. So when he was telling me everything, he said, you know, Rhea, now when I look back, I never wanted to get married. I never wanted to get married. I just didn't want to lose. I didn't want to miss the bus. But marriage is a responsibility.
तो ऐसे लोग क्या करेंगे? मतलब आपको अच्छे लगते हो एक दूसरे की कंपनी, लेकिन एक को शादी करनी है, एक को नहीं करनी है. फिर
love is love, motivation, these things, na Shraddha, they are a feeling. They come and go. There are days you have it, there are days you don't.
Yeah.
There are days you're in love with your partner, and you look at your partner in a certain sense from a distance, say, I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
And there are days where you look at them and you're like, who is this person? And you know, I could have got someone better, I could have gotten someone more successful, better looking. Who am I with? You know, but it's on those days as well where you really show that sense of responsibility, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that, so no, feelings, oh, I should only do it when I feel like it. Feelings are not reliable, you know. They're really not. Like, your brain has two parts, right? One is a prefrontal cortex and one is a limbic system. Your prefrontal cortex is judgment making, problem solving. It helps you make decisions. Your limbic system is emotional regulation, the feelings bit of it. But if I make every decision with my limbic system, it's my prefrontal cortex only gets weaker. But the more decisions I make with my prefrontal cortex, the better my decision making power gets.
But don't you think everything is feeling, right? सब कुछ तो feelings से चलता है.
Feelings से बिल्कुल चलना चाहिए. It keeps you human, right? It keeps you empathetic. But at the same time, marriage, giving, right? Like when you're a parent and you have to drop your child to the school and pick your parent, why to our children we show that unconditional love, right? Where we have that sense of responsibility because this is a human being we have made. But with our partners, we tend to take them so for granted.
Yeah, बच्चों के साथ हमेशा सब 100%.
Because there's a sense of responsibility there.
And love as well.
Yeah, and love as well, of course, of course.
So do you think when couples have a problem with each other, it is they're not happy with themselves individually and which spreads in their relationship, or they're not happy with the partner?
I think depends on the nature of the relationship and the quality of the relationship for sure, and your partner and how your conflict management there, and how much your partner, how secure your partner is individually with themselves matters a lot. Your sense of self matters a lot, because at the end of the day, if I don't feel whole, right, a relationship initially becomes like this void, right? A lot of you must have heard, a lot of your friends, a lot of people you know, they can't stay single. They're always in a relationship, right? Because that's the biggest red flag, right? Because they're always using a relationship to fill that void.
Self-esteem की कमी होती है, like they just can't be with themselves.
Yes, they just can't be with themselves, and they feel that relationship is that quick dopamine fix. Maybe 1 year, 6 months, 2 years, it'll fill that void until it doesn't. You know, until that lack of attention, you know, it gets to them so much that they start feeling that void, that emptiness a lot more.
Right. So, I have a few friends जो ऐसे कहते हैं कि जब भी एक कपल के बीच में बच्चा आ जाता है ना, तो वो कपल के बीच में डिस्टेंस हो जाता है. Of course, these people don't have kids. But what's your experience?
Well, from my clinical observation and in my therapy sessions, in my practice, what I've seen is that having kids, yes, it distracts you from one another, right? But again, it's that shared sense of purpose that brings you together. That okay, in our 20s, it was all about building our careers, building our home, but this time is all about this baby that we've created, that we're choosing to nurture, protect, provide for, right? It keeps you together, but again, there's a certain selflessness there, that this is lost time with ourselves, and it's family time, right? But then again, once that child grows up, goes to university, gets married, you have to find each other again and find that shared sense of compatibility again. So like I said, you're running a marathon where your shared sense of purpose keeps changing. Right. And if you don't have, a lot of couples these days do choose to not have children. And what tends to happen is that that sense of purpose goes between, and they think that okay, when a child comes into the picture, then we won't focus on each other. My husband will neglect me, my wife will neglect me, and women do tend to get blinds. That's what they call like having a baby brain, where it's all about the baby. Wake up baby, sleep baby, right? And they are obsessed with their baby almost because of their hormones and how they're designed to feel, right, in that moment. And men, they can feel neglected during that time, but again, it is reminding yourself about that purpose you have together, and you have to keep finding each other.
Such women should give more responsibilities to the men as well, to take care of the baby. Women don't do that often?
Of course. Women do that now. They do give a lot of responsibility to the men as well. And I think the men that are involved with the baby, they, like I said, they do the marathon well. They run that marathon, they run that mile. But the men who feel very neglected because of the lack of attention, again, I see those couples drifting apart a lot because they say, oh, my wife is not paying attention. But the men who are involved in the process, that's what that sense of purpose is.
Yeah. So it'll help the woman also, the wife also, to really do her thing. Yeah. She'll have a time. Yeah. And then otherwise, at times, what is postpartum?
But you were asking me about the sense of, your self-esteem. But this is where it comes in, because if I am used to a lot of attention, right, and I don't feel whole, right, when the baby comes, I'll constantly keep looking for reassurance. I'll constantly keep saying that, okay, why hasn't my wife noticed me? Why hasn't my wife? Or vice versa, right? And that's when your sense of self comes into picture, that okay, we're tired, right? We've been up for the baby all night. All we can talk about is the baby, right? We're tired. And to let go and forgive your partner a little bit more.
Yeah, so it's a phase of life wherein you have to. It might not be the easiest phase in everybody's lives, but live that life.
Yeah, and I see most couples coming to me in sessions who are like those power couples and who don't have kids. I see them falling out of love, cheating on each other, growing apart a lot more.
Really?
A lot more. Because like I said, you find yourself, but then you grow so further apart in the relationship, right? That you don't catch up on each other's stories. You don't have a sense of purpose together.
Okay. Tell me, where is the happiness quotient more? Couples who have kids versus couples who do not have kids?
I think let's change that word and not say happiness, and let's say fulfillment.
Yes.
Right? Happiness is a feeling. It's an emotion. You feel it sometimes you don't. Right? With your family as well. You're not always happy. Yes. It's not practical. But for the fulfillment quotient, I definitely see it with couples who have kids more. They are a lot more confused. They are a lot more stressed. There's eustress and distress, right? Eustress, you get a promotion, you're a lot more stressed because now you have a lot more responsibility. You get married, you're a lot more stress, a lot more responsibility. So this is a kind of responsibility that you're tired all the time, you're sleep deprived, you go through pain, different emotions, and but there's a lot of fulfillment as well. I think आजकल लोग अपने बारे में बहुत सोचते हैं, and which is great. You should, like I said, you should pour everything you have in yourself first before you pour it into somebody else. But let's not forget, fulfillment comes a lot in giving, with boundaries, but giving.
But you so rightly said, आजकल बहुत हमने ऐसे सुना है, like bringing up a child, 10-15 साल दे देने, which is very, very expensive to give so many of your years. But then again, I don't know, to each its own, but fulfillment is very, very important aspect about
you
life.
Take any job, like my job is such where you're constantly giving, right? But it's so fulfilling. I get a good night's sleep, and of course you have to have boundaries. Every giver has to have boundaries. Like, even I say this to new mothers as well, who go through postpartum, and I say this, that you have to be giving time to yourself. You're pouring into your hobbies, into yourself. Find a little time for that, because there's so much guilt involved. But like I said, giving with boundaries is the most fulfilling. It's a pleasure of life.
Yeah, you're right. So Rhea, I want to know, what are the usual problems that men face and the problems that women face?
So it depends on the age group. I think men in their 20s are a little lost, where it's all about the career. They feel, especially when they start working, they come to me with a lot of imposter syndrome, right? Where they struggle with low confidence, and then there's, okay, but do I even belong here? A lot of relationship issues. Men in their 40s, however, 40s, 50s, where they've earned a good amount for themselves, they're at a secure position financially, they come with a lot of anxiety, and especially work anxiety. And I'll tell you why. Because we are conditioned, men are conditioned in such a way in society to not feel, to not express, right? Emotional expression is seen as weakness. So all they learn from their fathers, from their grandfathers, from their uncles, from other men, because children don't learn from what they hear, but they learn from what they see. And they see that, expressing yourselves emotionally is weak, right? So go chase, make that money, make your goal, chase, success. And that's it. Only then you are worthy, right? And when these men chase and brush everything under that carpet, one fine day, that thing they've been chasing for, when they finally get that security now, it's not enough, Shraddha. It's not. And then that same thing brings them so much anxiety that, I don't want to pick up these calls. I'm not happy. This is the one thing that I thought will save me, will fill that void, like we were saying. It's just not cutting it anymore. And this one thing is bringing me so much anxiety, right?
So what do you do when you are in this space?
I think finding your individual self as a whole, right? When we make everything the center of our lives, right? Whether be it our work, be it our relationship, be it our child, right? Reality, the life has a way of shaking you up and saying that, I mean, dude, what's wrong with you? Like this is going to hurt you, right? I think the key to feeling content and fulfilled is to have a certain level of attachment and a certain level of detachment.
Yes.
But know when and what to attach to, and when and what to detach from. And because you don't own anyone. You don't own that job. You don't own this person.
Yes.
Right?
Be it your wife or your child.
Absolutely.
So then, to find a balance between, you as totally as an individual and the other things.
Who are you without your work? And the people who've been running and chasing success, and they realize that, okay, if this one thing is making me not feel good, and I have attached my worth to this, right? And especially when you're all, we are taught that your worth is defined by your grades, then your worth is defined by the job you have, especially with men. Men are brought up under immense pressure, not just with what other people say or what they do, but what they've seen their fathers do and their grandfathers do.
I feel bad for men, yeah. I mean, society has been defined them like always the providers, as if the whole responsibility is on men.
Yeah.
Acha, tell me.
Yeah.
When these couples come to you, do they talk about their intimate life, about their sex life with you, for you to understand them better?
Absolutely. Everything. Therapy is a safe space, and you will be surprised the kind of intimate details people even share with you. They share about their sex lives, their libidos, their fantasies, kinks, whatever you have to call it, right? And but that's what it is. There's so much shame attached to these things that we always think that, oh my god, it is this huge taboo to talk about. But the therapy is a safe space where people talk about everything.
And it should be like that, right?
Of course, it has to be like that, because if you can't talk about these things, right, there is no point, because you've probably not found the right fit.
Right. And, just before, we were also discussing, when we say sex, the usual thought is intercourse, but they are different things, right?
Yeah, honestly.
How important is sex or having regular intercourse? How important it is for a good relationship in a couple?
I think yes. The definition of sex is very different from people, right? A lot of people can't have intercourse, but what they do is still considered sex, right? So sex is definitely, intercourse means one thing, but sex means very different thing to different people, right?
So when you say can't have sex means?
No, can't have sex is like the same sex couples or whatever, right? Like what sex is different for everybody. And I think personally, sex is very important in a relationship. And I think
you mean intercourse is very important?
Sex is very important. And your definition of sex, whatever that may be intercourse, that may be foreplay, whatever that is, that's very, very important. And I think everybody's libido is very different. Sometimes your libido is also impacted by your generational trauma, a trauma you may have, right? Any emotional blockages, your hormones, it's your mind and body connecting, right? At the end of the day, it's a way to be intimate and connect with your partner. So it may look different for everybody. So when people come to me and say, what's the right frequency? And to that, I say it depends, relationship to relationship, what the right frequency is, because it's where you and your partner meet.
Right. And we also discussed about the baggage in a relationship. The more the baggage, the lesser the frequency.
Yes. So what tends to happen initially, you don't know a person a lot, right? So there's a lot of curiosity. There's a lot of this person can, this person will complete me. This person will balance me out in some way. And it's, of course, this person's new to you. The attraction is there. So sex is very easy, but through the years of a marriage, the more you get to know somebody, the more misunderstood you feel in the relationship, the more miscommunication, the more issues you bury under the carpet, I think your emotional baggage increases, because of which it's much harder. It gets much harder often to have sex with your partner through the years, is what I've seen at my clinic, right? And also practically, people do say that it can be boring as well, because so much is available outside and then with the same person. Yeah, absolutely. And especially when you are a parent, or when you've seen your partner in all forms, you've seen them sick, you've seen them, panic, you've seen them in parent mode, you've seen them with baby food all over themselves, right? It is hard to go in and out, to switch in and out of that. But at the same time, emotional baggage, what I see, plays a big role in couples. So a lot of couples come to me and they say, we're happy, but we've not had sex in 5 years. And I look at them and I say that, okay, and when we unravel through couples sessions and or marital counseling, and we figure that no, their happiness is very, there was something pulling them apart. The years of emotional baggage did get to them, because of which it affected your sex life. At the end of the day, human beings want to have sex to connect, to feel intimacy, right? And intimacy can be felt through looking into your partner's eyes, right? Which is again something that happens lesser over the years, but nobody talks about that. People talk about, oh, we're not having sex. But when was the last time you looked into your partner's eyes and you were genuinely present with them? So that also happens
Some people
less.
would be very good at these things, looking into the eyes and talking, praising each other, spending time with each other, not having sex. How would their relationship turn out to be?
I think depends on the person. If a person, depends on what your version of intimacy is, right? See, everybody at the end of the day wants to feel seen and heard, right? If my partner is holding my hand, looking into my eyes, and but sex is again a very important part of being seen and heard. You're seeing the rawest version of each other, right? So it's another form of intimacy. And at the end of the day, let's not forget that we all here because of sex, right? Procreation is a biological mechanism that is ingrained in us. So it's a very important part of intimacy.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're so right. So, one of my friends would be in her 40s and, absolute doing great in her professional life, like a corporate honcho. And she just happened to tell me, like, aajkal sex kaun karta hai? And I paused for a few seconds. I didn't know the answer. But what is it exactly?
So I think a lot of people tell themselves, they go into a sense of, when people betray them, I'll be honest, and I'm not talking about a friend here or generalizing this, but what I tend to see in my practice, when people betray your trust or misunderstand you a lot, or you've had hard relationships, you become very hyper independent, and you say that, okay, I don't need intimacy. I don't need that kind of intimacy to survive. I have my work, I have my life. That's it. Right? So it's almost like that fear of being vulnerable.
And one is that, and also, the city life, Bombay, Delhi, and people are really so busy. And so much is happening on social media. People are there all the time on their Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram. But time hi nahi bachta.
Actually, you'll be surprised that I think people have a lot of sex, to be honest, because of casual sex is very in, and it's very prominent. But I do feel that again, you're being intimate, it depends where it comes from. It's just to fulfill a biological need, it's fine. But I think a lot of people have casual sex with the idea of, okay, they actually want to connect, they actually want to be intimate. But what that does actually, Shraddha, is it makes you feel less worthy. And I'll tell you what I mean. A lot of people will come and jump on me like, what is she saying, right? But the truth is that, again, it's a quick fix. It's a quick fix that you feel will fill that void. A lot of people use casual sex to fill a void that they feel. And they truly want intimacy, they truly want to connect, they truly want to be vulnerable. And it gives them a little bit of that for a while. It makes them feel seen, heard for a while. But it makes them feel more depleted after of what they don't have. Okay. So the casual sex takes you on a high, but once it ends, it takes you on the lowest low.
Right, I understand. So people are having more of casual sex, but not a married couple who are been in a relationship for years.
Absolutely.
So there it's diminishing, here it's increasing because of, of course, dating apps.
And I've heard people who have meaningless sex say that, it's great, like till when I'm having sex it's great, but the after of it, I feel like absolute shit.
Why?
Because, again, like I said, they use it to feel better about themselves.
So there's is it because there is no real attachment, no love?
Yes,
that's why
yes. As human
so
beings, we seek that attachment. We seek love. It's just like sex is a biological need. I was telling you about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where sex is literally a fundamental need, like food, shelter, water. But so is on that pyramid, so is attachment, so is intimacy, so is love, all of this, right?
Even for men, because
Yes,
usually
for a
I mean, we
human
have so
being.
many men friends, like for us it's
Even
just
for
work.
men, love, attachment, intimacy is a very strong need. And like I said, a lot of men have been conditioned over the years to not emotionally express, so they're not in tune with their body a lot. So they may feel I'm craving sex, but it's the actual intimacy, love, attachment and feeling of home that they want, which is where ये situationships का ज़माना आ गया, where everybody's in a situationship. You don't want to commit, but at the same time, you still want the feeling of some kind of home where you're going back to one person.
Yeah.
You don't want to take that responsibility, but you want to get a lot of your needs, which is love, intimacy, sex, all of it fulfilled.
And years ago, maybe 10, 20 years ago, it was difficult to get a girlfriend or difficult to get sex. But these times, because of so many dating apps, it's easier. But it's also become difficult to find the right person for these.
Very. And I think a lot of the times I hear couples and they say that, we're not compatible because we don't do the same kind of things. But then couples who are very compatible, I see they don't have the same vision. Right? So I think at the end of the day, what makes the right partner for you is your needs. Are they able to meet your needs, right? You know what Seema Taparia says in her show of that 80% bhi ho jaye to. So I think at the end,
marriage show, yes.
Yeah, that marriage show. So it's true because nobody can meet all of your needs all the time. But if they're meeting majority of your needs, and needs that are very, very important to you, right? So I think you can find the right partner when you are the right partner, when you have a sense of self and like a lot of married couples, when they come to me, and especially men, because like I said, they're not in tune with their emotions and their feelings a lot. They often say that, no, I went with the flow because I didn't know what I wanted. I said, do you know what you want now? Do you know what your needs are? So they don't know what needs are really important to them.
And how does one find that?
And they're figuring it out in their 40s and 50s when they're struggling in their marriage. They build that career, they build that success that they've been chasing. But now they don't come home to a peaceful environment. They don't come home to a loving relationship. And that's why they say, oh, I don't know. I never got the time to know what is important to me, know what my needs are. I don't know myself. The amount of men in their 40s or late 30s and 40s, I've heard them say this. It's uncanny.
तो पता कैसे चलेगा कि मुझे ये चीज चाहिए?
Through therapy, through understanding yourself, through understanding posing different situations, right? Like what is truly important to you.
ये सवाल usually हम बैठते नहीं है. We don't ask these questions to ourselves.
Yeah.
कहते हैं ना, sit in the silence for every day. Talk to yourself, self-talk. What is it that I really like doing? What is it that I need in life? We are just going on and on with our lives, right? Definition of success is almost the same for everyone. It should not be, right? Success should be different for different people because मुझे जो चाहिए वो मुझे चाहिए, आपको शायद नहीं चाहिए.
Absolutely. And I think, all of us, and I keep saying this to my clients, I keep joking with them and saying that, you have to channel your inner Sherlock Holmes, because until and unless you do that, if you don't know what you want, आपको हमेशा लगेगा कि इसमें कुछ कमी है, इसमें कुछ कमी है, इसमें कुछ कमी है, right? And what I see is people jump from one relationship to the next, to the next, to the next. The person you're with, you have 80%, but then that other person is giving you that 20%. So you say, okay, this is better. But you're not getting that 80% again. So you keep jumping through relationships. But till the time you don't channel your inner Sherlock Holmes and understand what are my core needs. I'm a human being, we're all human beings, right? Like I said, we all want intimacy, we all want love, we all want attachment, we all want sex, food, water, shelter, security, everything. But what can I compromise on? Because I'm not married to an AI model, right? I'm married to a human being. So what am I willing to compromise on?
So I think the biggest justice we can do to our lives is by really knowing what is it that I need,
Yes,
and which
yes.
takes work. It doesn't
It
happen on.
takes absolutely, it takes a lot of work. And so many people, you know, especially in their 20s, late 20s, come to me and say, कि नहीं मेरे को ऐसा partner चाहिए. I want a girl like that. I want this, I want that. But there's very little focus on being that person. So I have a strong thing is that be the person that you want to seek, right? Be that person. If you want somebody family oriented, be that person, right? Be that person who cares about family, right? If you want somebody who is financially providing for you or is protecting you in some way, be that person who can nurture. So a lot of women these days say that, okay, I want the provider, but at the same time, I don't want to sit at home and cook and do this and do all of that, right? So find that balance, but it's very important to ask yourself, what are my core needs and what am I willing to compromise on in a relationship? Compromise is a part of it, right? But at the end of the day, what you're compromising on is the crucial part.
इतनी clarity नहीं होती. I think
बिल्कुल नहीं.
I mean, we don't think enough, or we don't spend enough time with ourselves just to have these answers.
सोचते बाद में है ना. When things are not going good, when things are not, initially we are blinded by it, you know. And I think this seeking, this searching should happen as we go through life, not just when we meet a partner, not just when things are going bad, but even when you and me, in our day to day, we have to check in with ourselves and channel that Sherlock Holmes, because.
But you know, I mean, कभी-कभी ऐसा लगता है कितना evolution चाहिए to be this kind of a person. And usually people get married in their 20s, whatever late 20s, you know. So तब तक तो इतना evolution आता भी नहीं है. And then once you are with someone, then it's kind of living together, and then you just can't live your life your own way, right? So how does that journey transform into becoming like, this is who I am, this is what I like?
So that connection with yourself should happen every day. I'll tell you what I've noticed in a lot of my clients who walk, you know, through the door of my clinic is that a lot of the times they come and either they're single and they've been hurt in their previous relationship and they're just running and fooling themselves that nahi yaar, I don't need a relationship, I don't need intimacy, I don't need love. मैं ऐसा ही ठीक हूँ और I'm good like this and I don't need anybody, my work is enough, my success is enough, my career is enough. And then they fall in love and everything goes for a toss, right? And then it's great for a couple of years, you're feeling that high, you're feeling that dopamine, and then the problems start to arise and you realize that, oh my god, this person's not meeting a lot of my needs, right? This person is not who I needed to be with, but who I wanted to be with. So that's the problem. We are constantly running from ourselves a lot of the times, right?
Why? Because initially he thought, I don't need all this.
Yes.
And when he got it,
yes.
He's not ready for it.
No, he is, a part of it is he's not ready for it. But the bigger part of it is he doesn't know what he needs.
When you don't know yourself.
Because he's been running from the thought and the idea of trusting again, being vulnerable again, connecting again.
You know, just before this, you said that people who are very compatible, but they have different visions.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
I think at the end of the day, if your visions, like I said, you know, it's very important to catch up on each other's stories from time to time, and having the same vision is, okay, for example, if you're somebody who likes to party, who believes in going out a lot, whatever it is. And I am somebody who believes that no, we should spend the weekends with family, because I see that, okay, my retirement being us watching home movies, maybe meeting our friends once in a while, but you see it, no, I want to be in the city, I want to be in the hustle bustle, I want to go for gatherings, I want to go for clubs, which happens a lot with so many couples. But at the end of the day, are your visions aligned with each other? Because your day to day will always reflect what your vision is.
And it has to be aligned for a good life together.
I met you in the gym, you know, so that takes off the first thing that somewhere there's a reason we connected, Shraddha, because our day to day we were already checking off a very similar activity, right? If I want kids, if I want a family, if I believe that we should have this together, and it's natural that I'll want to invest in it, irrespective of me being married to somebody or not. Whoever it is, I will invest that time with them. But if for me it's my career, and then going, and I don't know what, I'm still working in my retirement, I'm still racing through life, and that's my vision, fair enough. I'm not going to spend that time investing in you, investing my weekends. I'll get some work, I'll take it. Right?
There's kind of a quote, who you pick up as a partner tells a lot about you.
Yeah, we were discussing that. Yes. Absolutely. I think your partner is always a reflection of your self-esteem. The way your partner treats you, like the kind of partner you're with, if they treat you, if there's a lot of respect between you, right? It's like a mirror for yourself, for the level of your self-esteem.
So if I have a great self-esteem, I will have a partner who will respect me.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, you will not be comfortable in an environment coming home to a partner who consistently disrespects you, because you are a high value woman, you have high self-esteem. You'll be so uncomfortable with that. You try to communicate, you try to work on it, but then you leave. But somebody who's comfortable in the environment where they are disrespected consistently, also has low self-esteem, right? Because that is familiar to them. That is a comfortable environment for them. And I always say this, that the opposite of love is never hate. It's always indifference.
So if I'm underconfident and have lack of self-esteem, my partner would be usually the one who will not respect me.
Yes, you will be stuck in those relationships a lot more, because we tend to seek familiarity, even if that familiarity is chaos, even if it is infidelity. We may be grown up seeing our parents cheat on their respective partners, their significant others. We like familiarity. Our brains, our bodies, we like to do a lot. Our neurons like to do less work. Let's just say that.
अच्छी चीजों के पीछे जाने के बदले हम फेमिलियरिटी की तरफ जाते हैं.
Yeah. हमें पता है, वो लॉजिक तो है हमारे पास कि ये चीज अच्छी नहीं है. That this is not healthy. But इसमें ना ये familiar है. So हम निकल नहीं पाते इस सिचुएशन से. We may be crying about it, Shraddha. We may be cribbing about it, crying about it, being miserable. We may be depressed, anxious. Our cortisol becomes high. We develop health issues. I recently posted about what happens when your body rejects a partner. We may have all the physical symptoms that this relationship is killing you, but you still won't leave because that chaos is familiar. That high cortisol, living in high cortisol is familiar. So, I see so many people come to me and they're in these toxic relationships and chaotic relationships, or they're with a partner who gives them the silent treatment, neglects them, just vanishes from time to time, but they're still stuck there. But when they finally find someone who's very secure, who treats them well, treats them with respect, is there whenever they need, they cheat on that partner, because they don't know how to handle unfamiliarity but peace.
My goodness. So now, imagine when two people are attracted to each other, and when you are attracted by their fame, position, or their status, and when one of the partners decides कि चलो मैं थोड़ा break लेता हूँ या लेती हूँ, which is generally the woman because of maternity leave, child, or to nurture the relationship. So does the attractiveness diminish between the couple?
I don't think so, because I think, see, why do people like somebody else with power and money. And what's behind that power and money? There's passion, there's discipline, there's diligence, right? And when somebody is in it for the true reasons, for the right reasons, they may like everybody likes money, power, success. Everybody likes it. Let's be honest. Whether it's a man, woman, any human being, right? But behind that power, behind that success is discipline, is caring, is passion, is the endless hours that you put. And when you see that instead of the job, instead of the career, it's that baby, that my partner is nurturing with that much diligence. She's reading books on, being a good mom and having that much passion, for doing as much as it, is in her control. Then no, you don't lose that attraction. In fact, it only grows because you're growing something that's yours mutually. And, she's showing that same passion, that same diligence, that same discipline towards raising a child. So in fact, that attraction grows.
Nice. Very
Unless, you're in it for the surface level reasons. You're in it for how it looks to be with this person rather than actually being attracted for the qualities they possess.
Right.
That's the difference.
So now, when you are successful or a successful couple, they usually, each of them, they get so much of attention. They are busy. So does the individuality takes a bigger space than the relationship? And at times, sometimes to pay attention to the relation, they really, do not focus on their careers purposely. How do this dynamic work?
So this is a very interesting question because I think you kind of hit the nail on the coffin there. This is what tends to happen when two people who are very successful in their individual fields and they're traveling a lot or they get a lot of attention somehow in their respective fields. It does sometimes their focus shifts on their individual self more, and their attention, like I said, a plant won't grow till you nurture it, till you water it. And the leaves are drying here, but they don't notice until it's too late, right? So it's great to have your careers, to have your individual lives, it's okay to get their attention. But at the same time, if you're not catching up on each other's stories, like we were discussing, if you're losing that mutual sense of purpose, that okay, there is something here also. People, that's why I said relying on feelings. I never, for me, it's honestly bullshit. Relying on feeling. I always say when my clients say, nahi yaar, I'm not motivated, I say motivation is bullshit. It's a myth. Okay, it's a myth because it's a feeling. Feelings come and go. Feelings are important. Thoughts are important. But, Shraddha, they're not reliable. They're not reliable. And what tends to happen is when we get their attention outside, like your question, like you asked, we get very hooked on to their attention. Very hooked on. It's very addictive, right? But somebody who says ki nahi yaar, man nahi kar raha hai. Why should I go to my partner? Why should I put that? You may be cooking for your partner initially, but you don't want to do that anymore. You may be taking your partner out for cakes and coffees, but you're not doing that anymore because you're like, nahi yaar, I don't feel like it. But till the time, you don't say that, just like your job, you don't feel like it, but you go, right? You go every day, you have that discipline. But because you lack that discipline, and this is based on feeling, you tend to neglect this and get hooked on to that attention. So I think this is where needs come in, what needs and core values of a person, right? That if you value what your vision is, remember we were speaking about aligned visions. If your vision is to retire with a family, have a child, spend your weekends with family, watching home movies or whatever movies you are, going on family trips, or if you say, no, I want to spend time with my friends, I want to do other things, I want to build a new venture, right? I want to focus on that. Your visions, this is where it matters, because if you're getting more hooked on to the attention outside and neglecting the relationship, then you don't even know what your vision is, right? Your vision is something else then.
Yeah. So it's again, it becomes very important for an individual to know what's their
Yeah,
vision.
what are your values? What is your vision? And then only you can pour into somebody else. Otherwise, this plant the leaves are going to dry up.
Yeah. And sometimes, you want everything. You want your family.
Everyone wants
Yeah,
everything.
you want your family. You want a great career. You want to be famous. And, this is a major issue, especially for women, and I'm sure even men these days, and that's why you're just pulled in all the directions, and you don't
Yeah.
think that enough is happening in your life.
I say this to my clients all the time, Shraddha, that the worst thing you can ever have, and especially people in their 20s, the worst thing you can ever have is exactly what you want.
Also?
Because then when you have exactly what you want and you find yourself complaining and feeling feeling half or feeling empty, even then it really hits you, and it hits you like a truck, that I've had this person and I thought this was very important to me, but now what? Now I'm lost.
So जिंदगी में जो सब कुछ बिल्कुल जो सही में चाहिए वो पूरा नहीं मिलना चाहिए, नहीं तो
you feel lost.
अच्छा.
You feel, if you have exactly what you want, you feel, where is that sense? See, there is always going to be, like I said, which is why what you're compromising on is an initial conversation you should always have with yourself. Because if you figure out what you don't want, or what you okay, I can't compromise on this, obviously, because to you what they are bringing to the relationship, it's normal ho gaya hai. There's no gratitude for it anymore. Then you're looking at the 20% that they don't bring to the table, right? But when you go seeking that 20, you realize that 80 is not there. Right? So the worst thing you can have is exactly what you want, because then you realize that what you wanted will have facets to things you could never even imagine. I could not even imagine that in this career I would feel so drained. I would feel so burnt out. I couldn't imagine that with this person I would get so bored. I wanted someone intelligent. I wanted someone smart. I wanted someone diligent, hardworking, exactly like me. But now that I'm with this person and the initial years were great, they let me build my career, they let me do my thing. We reached that goal, we built a family, or we built this home. I'm not having fun with this person anymore.
तो क्या करने का ऐसे में?
I'm bored of this person.
What does one do?
Right? It's like I said, it's that 20% that we feel is missing, right? To kind of keep having gratitude for what we have. But the minute we lose gratitude for what we have, the grass is always greener, Shraddha, on the other side.
Right.
Right? And then we keep chasing. Again, it comes down to self-esteem. It comes down to having that void. It's like a band-aid, right? It's a temporary, you're putting a temporary band-aid and it's a quick fix, right? But what are you chasing really?
So, at times we, so commonly we see these couples, they go to exotic places, they travel, they go to the best restaurants, Michelin star restaurants, but still there is no spark. People are on their phones, and just because they can afford these places, they've been there. Spark kahan se laye?
Spark, what's the problem with people being on their phones at dinners? I don't see any problem, Shraddha, as long as there is even 30 minutes a day of quality time. Maybe on your sofa, maybe on your kitchen table, maybe at a coffee, maybe while walking. You're looking into your partner's eyes, you're catching up on each other's stories, you're asking them how they feel. There's a certain openness and genuineness and honesty there. You're being genuine, you're being honest and open to connection. Even that quality 30 minutes trumps an entire day of absence almost. Right? Because the thing is, you can spend hours with this person, travel, but if you're not present, in that moment, you will always feel unheard and unseen. I see people with, like I said, a lot of young women say that, I want to be with this successful guy, and, he should have six figures and he should have this and that. But not a lot of people understand what it takes to be with that successful man who's always getting calls, who's always on his phone, or with that entrepreneur whose brain is always running with their work, where then, they want it all and then they feel unseen and unheard because they realize this person is not present. They may be with me on this holiday, we may be at the most exotic location, but he's not even looked into my eyes even once. Right? And that feeling, that's exactly why I say that sometimes the worst thing that can happen to you is to have exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Right?
How
So
is
even the quality 30 minutes with your partner every day, or 15 minutes every day, and if it's scheduled, it's better. Being present, truly present, trumps that 2-hour conversation. Fine, be on your phone now.
Yeah.
Talk about the detergent, talk about the laundry, talk about the kids. Often conversations after marriage revolve around, these day-to-day things, and that's okay. Have that, or be looking at your phone, scroll through Instagram, but that 30 minutes of connection, true connection, honesty and presence trumps that, absence, or that focus on yourself.
Very well said. And also, you spoke about scheduling. So schedule these important things, in your day. It feels so obvious, but that's what you suggest, right? And
I think you definitely should. And I think even with marriage, after a point, things like we were discussing, having sex gets harder, right?
That's also scheduling.
And I know it sounds, a lot of people say that, yeah, but then it takes the fun out of it, even scheduling connection time, right? Where you're genuinely connecting with each other. It takes the fun out of it. It feels like a task. It feels like a chore. But I tell them, it is a chore. Look at it like a chore. Do it. And tell me how you feel after. And it always brings them one step closer to the other, right? This couple came into my room and they said, the girl was saying, I don't feel loved. The guy was again very successful, very independent, very focused on his career. And he said, I don't know what to do, because even I need to pick up calls. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business. I can't not pick up calls. She said, you're always on your phone. So of course, we unraveled a lot of his trauma, a lot of her childhood trauma. But I gave them a small exercise, Shraddha. I said that every night, I want you to literally hug each other for 7 seconds, okay? And schedule some connection time every 3 days for 30 minutes. And that time, I want the phones down, no matter what, no matter who's dying. Okay, phones on silent, 30 minutes, or even once a week. But that hug should happen for a couple of seconds every day. And that guy was like, but why? It's a chore then, because I won't feel like it, right? I said, yeah, you're right. It's a chore. I want you to do it like a chore. And he said, fine. And I said, I want you to set an alarm. Jaise utte yaar, man nahi kar raha hai. I said, do it like a chore. You won't believe it. When they came to me next, and I told them to come to me after a month to see how it works. They said, when we heard it, we thought it's so silly.
Yeah.
But it has actually brought us so much closer. That now, initially, I used to feel very uncomfortable hugging, this, that. But now I hold on a little longer, the guy says.
Wow.
I linger on a little more.
Wow.
So sometimes what we think, yaar, man nahi hai, it's a chore, it's a task. Do that task, yeah? And see, that fulfillment comes after completing a task.
That's why action versus feelings. Actions
Yes,
are
I
more
was telling
important
you,
than
yes.
just the feelings. Yeah.
The reason I say motivation is a myth, it's the biggest myth, because motivation comes and goes, but action trumps motivation. right? I may not be motivated to show up for my parents, take them to the doctor, take them do this, do that, do this. I may be bogged down with work, but I still have to be there for if I have a child, I still have to show up, right?
Right.
So action trumps motivation. Feelings are not reliable.
True. And we were also talking about the couple therapy. So, how difficult is that when, when the couple is around and one of them feels that you being partial? Happens?
Yes, it happens a lot. And actually, all good therapists, they know this, that we have to be unbiased and I kind of communicate that, listen, I'm on nobody's side, right, in the first session itself. But a lot of the time, like I said, it's a very raw setting. And when there's usually one partner who's dragged the other person to couples therapy, and they are expecting this person to take their side, the stranger, this objective opinion, and the stranger to take their side in couples therapy. But when they see a reflection of that's not happening, right? And now maybe I have to take accountability for my mistakes, then often it hits them very hard and say that, okay, no, this is not for me because they're taking your side, right? But there are no sides. The truth is, it's always a two-way street. Takes two to tango.
I have to be honest, this happens with me.
It's happened with the best of us.
Yeah. So globally, ज़्यादातर जैसे यूएस में हस्बैंड वाइफ दोनों काम कर रहे होते हैं और वहाँ पे डिवोर्स रेट्स भी ज़्यादा हैं और अभी इंडिया में भी ज़्यादातर ऐसा हो रहा है, मेन हस्बैंड वाइफ दोनों काम करते हैं, तो क्या इसलिए डिवोर्स रेट्स बढ़ गए यहाँ पे भी?
आई थिंक पहले ऑप्शन नहीं था, डिवोर्स करने का, एग्जिट क्लॉज नहीं था. Divorce was not even an option. And don't forget, it's also like years of programming and conditioning, seeing our parents and grandparents. Sometimes, we've seen them in abusive a lot of people see their parents, grandparents in abusive relationships where it's very hard to be with the person, but they're tolerating. So then they learn and they model that behavior that no, you're supposed to tolerate and be with the person no matter how uncomfortable their presence makes you, right? But now people are learning that there is this option, and when you when you're reaching your potential, when you're meeting people, when you're out of that bubble, right, then you know that, okay, I can have a life, I can break that generational trauma or that generational kind of thing of nahi, divorce nahi kar sakte. Right? So that's where it comes from. But I always say this, that if there are, what is worse, the consequence of growing up with a single parent versus the consequence of growing up with both parents where they're abusive, or the father is neglecting mama completely, or parents are living like roommates, I would say it's way better to grow up with a single parent. Because at the end of the day, what a child learns from, like I said, not what they hear, but what they see. And what you're teaching your child is that as a single parent, that okay, we didn't work out. I still believe in love. I still believe in the institution of marriage. You're not shaming your father. You're not talking down at your father or at marriages. But what you're teaching your child by being in that abusive relationship, by being in a relationship with someone you clearly don't want to be with, or you're stuck with, that this is how you live life. This is how you treat somebody you love.
Yeah.
Right? Either you tolerate and you stay through anything, or this is how you treat somebody you love. Like, what is complex trauma at the end of the day when somebody grows up in a lot of chaos, or with a neglectful parent, or, they've not been loved right? Or they've been around just a chaotic environment with their parents fighting all the time, or being in an unsafe environment. They grow up as adults, they get into a push-pull dynamic with their partners, where they either pull you and then they sabotage the relationship, or they completely push you away when things are great, right? And that's what you teach your child by
because that's familiarity for them.
That's familiarity. Being constantly on eggshells, being on edge, your nervous system is forever dysregulated. That dysregulation and chaos is familiarity to you. That's what having a disorganized attachment style is. That's where attachment styles as a concept even comes from, Shraddha. It comes from your childhood and not always how your parents treat you. Parents bada laad pyar karenge, love karenge, mother, dad, they love you or they may not at times. But it's more about how they treat each other that impacts you, because that's what teaches you what love is, what to tolerate. And aajkal, by women working more and divorce rates increasing, we are actually learning to break this cycle. And I think that's it's a good thing, because you rather be content and be in a peaceful environment than being stuck with somebody who say that, yeah, I don't want to be with this person, I don't want to live in the same room as them.
100%, so rightly said.
Yeah.
And how much is social media responsible for all these problems that the couples are having?
I think social media is not responsible for anything, but I think it is just an accessible tool available within seconds where we draw comparisons from. I would say it just it multiplies your low self-esteem, right?
Oh.
So it kind of, because it's an accessible tool. Pehle kya hota tha, newspaper mein we used to say that, oh, this has happened, that has happened. अच्छा पता है श्रद्धा की शादी हो गई है, तू भी शादी कर ले बेटा. But imagine now, it's multiplied so much that now within seconds we have global access on this platform where we know each and everything, people who we don't even care about. So it's easier to draw comparisons from them. It's easier to feel that, okay, I'm so lost, everybody's moving ahead, but yeah, they're showing you the best side of their life or the best moments of their life. Like, I see so many people who come to me, look at their Instagrams, there's only sunshine and rainbows and travel and everything great, and they come to me and they're equally lost, equally directionless. They feel equally behind and stuck, right? Because they may be stuck in ways that you're not.
Yeah.
But everyone's journey is different. But if you cling on to, again, the 20% that you don't have, social media is a tool that gives you accessibility to draw comparisons.
Right.
And again, quick dopamine. You come, what ideally, when you come back home, you will talk to your partner, you'll say, how was your day? What did you do? You'll try to connect with them. You'll try to, communicate. But now it's become about, or you'll have something interactive, right? But now it's quick dopamine, and then it exhausts you, it tires you.
It tires you, yeah. We
Mindless
don't even know
scrolling.
when we pick up that phone and start scrolling, right?
And I just spoke about it, that people who it's also a way of running away from your emotions, because a lot of people who are stuck in functional freeze response, which is again a trauma response, they have a dysregulated nervous system. So for them, mindless scrolling is a quick dopamine fix, right? They would rather mindlessly scroll than actually check in with themselves and say, okay, what's going on here? Right? So procrastination, again, social media makes procrastination, it's easier to procrastinate when you're on social media, because that mindless scrolling happens a lot more, right? It gives your brain that quick dopamine, but you're not facing your true self. As to that, a lot of people are stuck in functional freeze.
I wanted to know about what is the most common problem with women who come up to you. What is the problem statement they come?
To be honest, I think the most common problem with women I've seen is low self-esteem. I think because, like I said, for generations, we've looked at our mothers, in situations where they've tolerated more than they should have. Why have divorce rates increased? Because somewhere our tolerance level has gone down as our independence and as our choices have diversified, right? But I do think that one common thing is low self-esteem. I see postpartum, I see relationship issues, I see anxiety, depression. So it's a very range of issues that I see with women as well.
What advice would you like to give to women, who are trying to do it all?
I would say, well, firstly, don't do that. You don't have to do it all. Second, I feel be true to yourself as a human being, because, the definition is changing so quickly of what a woman should do. Right before it was, okay, you should cook and clean. And that was it. And, you have to nurture your child and you have to, help your child in their upbringing and teach your child and you're good. Now it is you work, you have a successful career, you break the glass ceiling, you are a good mother, you're a good wife, you're a good this, you're a good that, but you should know how to cook, but you should know this life skill. So it is a lot, right? But at the end of the day, I could be somebody who likes being at home, likes gardening, likes taking care of my family, likes cooking. But the truer I am to myself, the more fulfilled I will feel and the more I can pour into the people around me. But if I am somebody who gets a kick out of, being an entrepreneur, being, creating something, having a business, going to work, my corporate job, but I'm trying to do other things, trying to cook, trying to do clean, try to prove something that I am worth it. I am worth it if I do it all. I'm winning in life and I'm not losing anywhere, right? I think then there's always going to be a sense of it's never enough.
Yeah.
No matter what I do, it's never enough. And that's when depression kicks in because that's the feeling. The first symptom of having depression is the feeling of hopelessness. And that's when it kicks in, when you have been trying to do it all and trying to prove that this is what's going to make me feel worth it, right? Or worthy. This is what's going to make me feel worthy, but it doesn't. So not only my advice to women, but also men, just be true to yourself, right?
We have these definitions of success. Only if you reach at this particular level in your career, that's where you will be respected, admired. So these are pressures.
Yeah.
As we were discussing, everybody isn't meant to be there. Everybody isn't meant to be a CEO or to, to live certain kind of to be in certain kind of position. It's
absolutely not. And Shraddha, when you are true to yourself and when you are true to that's where the vision comes from. When you say that, okay, this is what I need in my life. I'm okay with not being on that ladder, but I need family time. I need connection, I need intimacy, I need these things more, right? So you are very clear, right? I think that clarity is very, very important in your life, that not everybody can be successful, because let's be honest, like I have something I tell my clients is the 4 burners theory, where let's say gas ke 4 burner hote hai, right? One is health, one is your relationships, one is work, and one is hobbies or extra things that you do, right? At a balanced life has 3 burners on. So that could be work, health, family. Okay. But somebody who wants to be very successful, like an Elon Musk, or like, a very successful person always has only 2 burners on, if you notice, because there's always a compromise involved, which is why I said not everybody is made to be that. But that 4 burners, that theory shifts. I mean, that your burners change with phases in your life. So maybe when you're a child, your burners will be, family and health. Right? Family, health, and maybe you'll balance it out with doing other things. But maybe in your 20s, it's work and health, or work and family, right? But be very clear. Because if you want to be that very successful, that CEO, that, have 6 figures, it takes, let's be honest and let's be realistic. It's great to fantasize about having it all, but, you really have to, you can only have 2 burners on.
यार 20s वाले लोग ज्यादा आते हैं आपके पास या लेट 30s 40s वाले?
Honestly, late 30s 40s वाले, क्योंकि और लोगों को लगता है कि मैं यंग हूँ तो फिर ज्यादा करके 20s में लोग आते होंगे, but that's not true. I get a lot of people in their late 30s, 40s, and especially a lot of men actually who I get both equal proportion, women and men, but a lot of the men, like I said, they have chased success to a level where their career is the only thing, or their education is the only thing that ever made them happy. But because they never nurtured their relationships, and a lot of women as well, they never nurtured their relationships. So now that same success, that same career, that same increment, that same promotion doesn't make them that happy anymore. It'll give them 2 seconds का happiness. Then they say क्या वही घसी पिटी life में जीने, वही घर में वही बिस्तर पे सोना है, right? So they are not fulfilled at all because they completely have been neglecting their relationships and saying that काम सब है, right? So women and men in their late 30s and 40s are actually, despite being at good positions, having great careers, having a great income, they are lost and directionless. Way more than people in their 20s, because people in their 20s still have a bit of hope. Right? So, yeah.
So when you say nurturing a relationship, it is just a couple.
No, all relationships.
Sorry,
all relationships around you. Yeah, but definitely your relationship with your partner impacts you the most in your, of course, in your late 30s and 40s, they're your family. You're coming home to them. You're sharing a bed with them.
Okay, tell me, are there personality types? जैसे कि हिंदू जब शादी करते हैं तो वो कुंडली मिलाते हैं कि आपके इतने गुण मिलते हैं वगैरह. So ऐसे कुछ personality types होते हैं wherein this kind of personality will do well with such kind of personality. ऐसा होता है?
Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, if you're in, see, the idea is to firstly understand what kind of a personality you are. So there is type A, type B. There are types of personalities. आपको कभी समझाऊंगी मैं कि type A, type B, type of personality कैसे होते हैं. But if you are somebody who let's just bring it down to basics and fundamentals of extroversion and introversion. Okay, someone who's an extrovert, someone who's an introvert, they are very different, right? And I think at the end of the day, people think that, okay, we can balance them out, we can this, and you can. But finding that center is so important. So like I said, you may be different personalities, but if your core values are the same, if your needs are the same, if you're able to meet each other's needs, it will still work. That's why you may hear कि, हम तो बहुत अलग है. मेरे को तो टीवी देखना पसंद है, घर पे बैठना पसंद है, उसको पार्टियां में जाना, सोशलाइज करना पसंद है. But at the end of the day, if you're meeting somewhere in the middle where you're able to meet each other's needs, right?
Give me some examples.
Like just needs for connection, needs for feeling heard, needs for feeling seen. But at the end of the day, if you are socializing and coming and you're drained and you don't have nothing to give to your partner, तो वो शादी कैसे चलेगी? Or if two people, let's just take it that same personality type, two people are introverts, right? They might just get sick of each other, yeah, because there's nothing else to add to. At the end of the day, let's not forget that we also a lot of people want their partners to inspire us in some way. So if I have great fashion sense and you don't, you will be very attracted to me and drawn to me. And that's the essence of your attraction, right? That I possess something you don't. So like I said, it is, at the end of the day, it just comes down to, am I meeting your needs? It doesn't matter the personality type I am, if I am meeting your needs. And if you respect me. That's it. If you see my personality of being an extrovert as a people pleaser, if your narrative of it is, the lens of it is through a disrespectful lens, no, yeah, it's not about the personality at all.
Tell me, before getting married, how would I know whether this person, I would go well with this person or not? Or what are the things that one should check?
I think you should just know yourself, yeah. I keep repeating this, and I think you should just know yourself, because like I said, I deal with so many people. A lot of my clients are in the late 30s and 40s, and when we unravel, they feel like, after, even if it's been a love marriage and they've been in love, and when they grow apart, like we discussed, it feels like they're sleeping beside a stranger, right? Because at the end of the day, they've not figured out still what they need from the person, right? What they need, what are their core values, what are their. So when you figure out yourself, ki, yeah, these are the things I can compromise on, but these are the things that I absolutely need.
और ये बतानी कैसे है पार्टनर को?
Non-negotiables होते हैं,
मतलब सीधा बोलना है कि
सीधा बोलना है. कोई माइंड रीडर नहीं होता है. लोगों को लगता है साइकोलॉजिस्ट माइंड रीडर है. आई डोंट बिलीव इन माइंड रीडिंग. आई बिलीव इन, जबान होती है सबकी विद रीजन. एवरी हेल्दी पर्सन, दैट्स व्हाई दे से यू आर हैंडीकैप्ड इफ यू आर म्यूट, right? Everything can be asked for, everything can be communicated, and it's a non-negotiable at the end of the day. Have your non-negotiables very clear. These are my non-negotiables, and these are things I'm willing to compromise on if it came down to it, because at the end of the day we all have to compromise.
सीधा बताना है, जो सामने वाला जब भी अच्छे मूड में होता.
Yeah, and a lot of people say to me that, यार they don't express, ये express नहीं करता है, ये express नहीं करती है. But how? And we've normalized this so much, because I think, again, like generationally, we've seen कि fathers or grandfathers or uncles, parental men, father figures, they don't express. तो ये normalize कर दिया हमने. But not being able to express, if you are not able to be vulnerable and communicate, how will the relationship ever work? Yeah. If you're not, again, that's being true to yourself. If you think your emotions and expressing makes you weak, how will you be able to foster another relationship that's outside of yourself?
Yeah.
Like I said, if you're not pouring into yourself, how will I pour into somebody else? And that's often a trauma response, not being able to verbally express yourself and express your emotions or express love. कि वो action में जताता है, words में नहीं जता सकता. क्यों नहीं जता सकता? But that's a trauma response that people don't, it's so normalized.
Tell me, in a relationship, is it true that दोनों में से एक इंसान दूसरे को ज़्यादा प्यार करते हैं?
That you balance each other out, right? For me, I may, love looks very differently. Like, your narrative of love is very important. Like, for example, if there is somebody who feels loved when their partner is working, able to provide and protect them, able to take care of their needs, take care of their children, take care that ye अच्छे school में जाए, अच्छा पढ़े, अच्छा करे, they may feel loved. But at the same time, if the same partner is with somebody who is always at home, always watching TV with them, they might disrespect that partner and say that that's not love. Go get a job, go work harder on yourself, right? So your definition of love, that's very subjective, Shraddha. That's very, how you feel seen and heard. If I came from a background that is not financially stable, to me, love looks like my partner creating financial security for me. If I came from a background that was not very emotionally stable, there was constant fights, my parents were not in love with each other, they were like strangers, they were like roommates. For me, emotional security is love. Emotional reassurance is love. Yeah. So you could be doing everything and you can say, यार हम साथ में grow कर रहे हैं parallelly अपने career में. But if you're not reassuring me, if you're not making me feel seen and heard and holding my hand time and again and saying, I'm here for you, I'm there for you, I love you. To me, you don't love me. But to somebody else, you say, this is love. Growing together is love. But to someone who's been deprived of emotional stability and reassurance from their parents and their parents with each other, they may seek that, yeah?
Yeah. So we tend to seek what we don't have.
Yes.
Rhea, there are a lot of successful people. done great in their careers, but still they're not confident because they're not happy with their personalities, the way they look, and physical appearance. Right? You would be finding a lot of people like that. Tell me, what advice would you give to them?
I think at the end of the day, truly, I say this to people that success is, one aspect of your life, right? But the way you see yourself is everything, because at the end of the day, when all the noise is done with, you are done showing your car off or sitting in that grand home, वो home भी normal बन जाता है, वो गाड़ी भी normal बन जाती है. But at the end of the day, आप घर तो, you come home to yourself, right? And this has to be a safe space. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much success you gain or you don't have, through your success and failures, you come home to yourself, right? And that has to be a safe space. So I always say this to people all the time, that you never get what you deserve, ever. And I'll break it down. You always get what you think you deserve. Right? So when people say that, yaar, ye to kitna lucky hai, oh, tu bada good looking hai, or, you've got it set, yaar, tu to set hai, right? But at the end of the day, they could be miserable inside because they don't think they deserve it, right? But someone, like I said, you only get what you think you deserve. You never get what you deserve. So you could be the most hardworking, most diligent person ever, but you may never be awarded or rewarded for it, right? Because there's a part of you that thinks that you don't deserve it. But somebody who doesn't work half as hard as you, right? Doesn't berate themselves half as hard as you, is not a half diligent as you are, or not half as disciplined as you are, but they are achieving heights of success, they are with a good looking partner, they are creating that home for themselves, is because they think they deserve it. So, which shows us almost that your image of yourself, your self-image and your relationship with yourself is truly the most important, because otherwise you will make even a heaven your biggest prison.
Wow, such a beautiful note to end our conversation with. My God.
Yeah.
So much I feel that you're a घड़ा भर गया है, और I'm sure यहाँ पे कैमरे के पीछे भी जो लोग हैं उनका भी. So, wow, this was such a beautiful session. So much to learn, yeah, Rhea. Thank you.
Thank you, Shraddha. Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And thanks for all these insights. I'm sure this will benefit. And I personally feel relationships is like the biggest pillar in our life, along with the other pillars.
Absolutely.
And if this helps even like 1% of people watching this, we'll be so happy.
I know.
आजकल ऐसा कहा जाता है that money gets you a lot of happiness. ऐसे गलत था कि money doesn't get you happiness. What's your experience?
So money, essentially, people think that money brings them happiness, and they said that, आजकल memes होते हैं बहुत Instagram पे that, oh, money doesn't buy you happiness, but I'd rather cry in a BMW than cry whatever in a normal car or in public transport. The truth is, money makes your life easier because it has access to you get the best healthcare facilities, the best education, which is very important. It's a very important, it's a resource to navigate your life. So money makes your life easier, but it doesn't bring you happiness. You think it does, but anything that you can buy with money now, you'll be happy for just a little while until you're back to your regular homeostasis. But happiness comes from the quality of your relationships. And happiness, like I said, it's fleeting. Sometimes you will love your partner, sometimes you'll hate them. Sometimes you'll love your family, sometimes you'll hate them. Happiness is a feeling, but being content and fulfilled is more long-lasting than happiness. And that your quality of your relationships bring you a lot more. So those people who chase money thinking that money is going to make them feel content and make them feel fulfilled, they are in for a ride in their life, right? Because it will make your life a lot easier. It's a lot easier to live in a penthouse or a mansion and drive a fancy car and go and be, have access to the best education, best healthcare system, travel business class. It makes your life much more comfortable and easy. But you realize that it doesn't make you feel content, because at the end of the day you'll sit in that business class seat, but you will still be thinking about, यार पार्टनर के साथ झगड़ा हो गया, यार मम्मी ने कॉल नहीं किया, यार I'm living like a roommate with my partner, what life is this, like that contentment still
वो तो
won't be
बस में
there.
बैठ के भी फीलिंग आएगी ना ये वाली.
100%. तो मैं कहाँ बोल रही हूँ कि एक को चुनना चाहिए, लाइफ भी थोड़ी इजी होनी चाहिए ना. लव और इंटीमेसी का टाइम भी कम दे पाते हैं अगर पहले तो सर्वाइवल है, बेसिक सर्वाइवल. That's why that hierarchy is so important in your life, because if there's no food, water, shelter, time ही कहाँ बचेगा? To fall in love you need, that's a luxury for you then, right? But at the end of the day, to feel fulfilled in your life, it's always, your quality of relationships are like a reflection. I say this to my clients a lot, that isolation is a modern day plague. कोविड छोड़ दो, ऐसा नहीं मैं कोविड से कंपेयर कर रही हूँ, बट मैं बोल रही हूँ कि आइसोलेशन एज अ मॉडर्न डे प्लेग. बड़ा रोमांटिसाइज कर दिया ये चीजों को, कि we have literally romanticized being alone so much कि okay, take those bubble baths and drink champagne by yourself, cut them off. But the truth is, you need all kinds of friends in your life, yeah. Like at the end of the day, I met you through making small talk in the gym. You understand? Not everybody is going to be your best buddy or your best friend or your best person. At the end of the day, if there's mutual respect for your time, show up with boundaries. But you need all sorts of, that small talk keeps you connected to humanity. Because I see, first thing when people come to me with anxiety, I ask them, are you working from home?
Oh.
Trust me. And I promise you, Shraddha, 70% of them are working from home, who come to me with so much anxiety. And I said, get out, be around people, join, play a sport, join a gym. क्योंकि वो small talk also ना, that's also very important. कि अच्छा, what diet are you on? Okay, how often do you work? That small talk also keeps you connected to humanity. You may not meet that person or give them a call after that, but what you're getting is connection to humanity. Of course, you're going to feel anxious if you don't get out of your house. So that's why I say isolation is a modern day plague. And that's why I also say never rely on feelings, because you're never going to feel like getting out. You're always going to feel like working from home. But feelings are not reliable. If you keep prioritizing what you want over what you need, you're always going to feel stuck. If you keep prioritizing making decisions through your limbic system, which targets emotions, instead of your prefrontal cortex, which problem solves, you're always going to be stuck.
How do you know these are my needs and these are my wants?
I think your non-negotiables are your needs, things that you absolutely can't do without. Wants, there's room to adjust, right? Needs are also, for example, somebody who always ask yourself the why of something. I think that's how you differentiate between a want and a need. If I say I want somebody 6'2", good looking, working in finance, or especially with that reel coming out, 6'2", finance, blue eyes, some crap. But if I say I want these things, why is this important to me? Why is somebody who looks good so important to me? What are they fulfilling? What are they, how are they making me feel good? Right? If I want somebody who's very successful, why is it that I want that? So like I said, being your own Sherlock Holmes and being your own detective is the best way, and asking yourself why. Why do I need this, and why do I want this? Why is this so important to me? Right? And then it's a want or it's a need. If you say that bus SC, it's a want. But if you say, I need this, because I can't. This would make me unhappy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Shraddha.
you so
Take care.
much, Rhea.
It was so great being here. I had so much fun with you, and hope to see you again. Seeing you at the gym.
Yes, listening to you was beautiful. It was
Yeah.
a great learning experience, and again, it just feels more fulfilling. I hope you're able to practice it all the more.
No, you were a great host, and it's always fun talking to you, Shraddha. And when you share, we have great conversations, and there's so much insight that I get from you also. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.